Welcome. Here is Hit and Run, Chapter 1 by R.L. Stine. Cassie Martin hung out with three boys. Cassie had been athletic all her life, playing sports, swimming, bike riding, and hanging out with the boys in her neighborhood. And when she got to high school, she didn't see any reason to change friends. Short and thin, with crimped blonde hair and lively green eyes in a full face of freckles. Cassie looked about 12, even though she was nearly 16. Cassie had a crush on one of the three boys she hung out with, Scott Baldwin. But it was a secret crush. Scott had no idea. To him, Cassie was just a pal. Scott was one of those all-around guys who got their picture in about 20 places in the yearbook. Really good looking in a teddy bear sort of way. Scott was big, blond jock with heavy, brawny shoulders and a broad neck, but he also had brains. He was starting fullback on the football team and all-state wrestler, but he was also class representative in the student government. He had on after-school job in his uncle's hardware store, and he managed to maintain a solid B-plus average. Just about perfect, that's what Cassie thought, but no one's perfect. Scott had his faults, she realized. For one thing, he had really annoying laugh, a high-pitched giggle that made Cassie's teeth itch. For another, Scott was more of a follower than a leader. Despite his big size, he was more of a sheep than a tiger. Mainly, he was always ready to go along with dumb jokes and schemes that Winks cocked up. Bruce Winkleman was another one of the three guys Cassie hung out with. No one called him Bruce. Everyone called him Winks, except his mother. Winks was a stringy brown hair down to his shoulders, and he wore black crimped Buddy Holly glasses that were too big for his slender face. He had only one kind of smile, a devilish grin. Winks was a good guy, too, after you got to know him, but what a joker. Sometimes Cassie wished he would be more serious, but then he wouldn't be Winks. Cassie was at Scott's house on Wednesday evening after dinner. They were supposed to study the government assignment, but Scott's parents had rushed out to go to an early movie, leaving Scott with dinner dishes to wash, so Cassie helped him in the kitchen instead. They had just about finished when Winks came marching in through the back door, as usual, without knocking. He was carrying a cardboard box, a little smaller than a shoebox, which set down on the kitchen counter. It was a really chilly winter night, about 20 feet or so outside, and windy, but Winks was wearing the same blue denim jacket he always wore, the one with his father's old war medals pinned up and down the front, and faded jeans with gaping holes at the knees. He was wearing his devilish grin, too. "I suppose you're wondering what's in the box," Winks said, pushing his heavy eyeglasses up on his short, pudgy nose. "Not really," Cassie said, drying the last dinner plate, handing it to Scott to put away. "You two look like you're married," Winks said. Cassie tossed down the dish towel. She glanced at Scott, who looked embarrassed. "Yeah, we got married this morning," she told Winks. "But it's a secret. Our parents don't know yet." Wink's devilish grin became more devilish. When's the honeymoon? What's in the box? Scott asked, changing the subject. He took the dish towel and mopped up the countertop. Try to guess, Wink said, drumming his fingers on top of the box. Is Eddie coming over? Eddie was the third guy, Cassie's other friend. I don't think so. Why? Scott asked suspiciously. Ah, Winks. Cassie made a disgusted face, then lowered her eyes to the box. Is this another dumb joke you're going to play on Eddie? Wink's dark eyes lit up behind his black rimmed glasses. It isn't dumb, he said. It's... Ah! Scott let out a high-pitched giggle. He was always ready to play another joke on Eddie. But Cassie, worried that they played too many dumb jokes on their friend. Sure, Eddie was a good sport. In fact, he was too good a sport. If he'd get really mad once, Cassie thought, Winks and Scott would probably stop. The only reason kids liked to play jokes on Eddie was because he was so quiet and sort of timid and frightened looking. His name was Eddie Katz, and some kids had started calling him Scaredy Katz. He was short, about the same height as Cassie, very wiry, with curly black hair. Eddie was one of those guys who blushed very easily. His cheeks always seemed to have dark red circles on them. Eddie was smart and serious. He wanted to be a doctor. A difficult goal since his family was struggling financially and he'd never make his own way through college and medical school. Call Eddie, Winks told Scott. Get him over here. Okay, sure. Scott reached for the red wall phone. What's in the box? Cassie asked. Guess, Winks insisted. Your brain? Scott giggled and punched Eddie's number on the phone. Close, Winks said, grinning. Scott got Eddie on the phone and told him to come over. Then he hung up. He's coming. What's in the box? It's an eyeball, Winks said, removing the lid, starting to lift the box to show them. Cassie hid her eyes with her hand. Don't show it to me. That's really gross. Scott stared in the box. From an animal? What kind of animal? From a human, Winks said. He replaced the lid. That's a human eye? Scott asked. He giggled in a humongous, gross, Cassie repeated. Where'd you get it? From an eye store? Winks cracked. They're having a sale. I just ate, Scott said, holding his stomach. Winks, is that really a human eye? Cassie asked, staring in the box. He nodded, pleased with himself. I got it from Eddie's cousin, Jerry. He works at the city morgue downtown. Okay, I'm going to stop because TikTok is going to cut me off in a minute. Okay, thank you for watching. I will continue this shortly. We only have like 4 more pages, and I'll continue next time. And for your own information, I am a YA horror author, and my book is Vampire Juice, and you can check it out. My link is in the bio. Thanks again for watching.